Welcome to NCSS Here for You. For over 50 years, Northwestern Counseling and Support Services has been providing access to quality psychosocial services to the residents of Franklin and Grand Isle counties. Over the years, as the needs of the community have changed, so too have the programs and services that we make available to assist children, adolescents, adults, families, and seniors. We take our role in the community seriously, and we strive to provide the highest quality services. According to Eric Erickson, a noted developmental psychologist, every person must pass through a series of 8 interrelated stages over the entire life cycle. NCSS provides a continuum of services to meet the needs of individuals who at any point seek assistance. NCSS's purpose is creating a stronger community, one person at a time. Now, let's get to today's show. I'm Joe Halko, Director of Community Relations for Northwestern Counseling and Support Services, and welcome to another episode of NCSS Here for You. Each month in this program, we discuss the human services topic, and we do that with staff from one of our 3 service divisions. Our 3 service divisions are Behavioral Health Services, Children, Youth, and Family Services, and Developmental Services. And, on occasion, we have guests from organizations that NCSS collaborates with throughout the year. This month's episode is titled, The Soar Learning Center, A Perfect Score. Recently, CARF International conducted a site visit and survey of NCSS, which included the Soar Learning Center. A 3-year accreditation was awarded to NCSS, and the Soar Learning Center received a perfect score with no recommendations. This is the 2nd consecutive CARF survey in which the Soar Learning Center has been reviewed, and the 2nd perfect score that they've achieved. Today, we'll discuss what makes the Soar Learning Center, which is a state-accredited independent school that provides concurrent day treatment services to children and adolescents in grades K through 12, so special, and why local schools and residents should be proud of the Soar Learning Center as a community resource. To discuss the Soar Learning Center in greater detail, I'm pleased to introduce this month's guests. They are Michael Bombard, Principal, and Christie Moffett, Clinical Services Team Leader. I want to welcome both of you to the program.
Thanks for having us here, Joe.
Well, let's begin with what is it that makes the Soar Learning Center different from other independent educational schools?
Well, we talk a lot about that amongst our team, and I think the first thing is that I believe right now we're the only accredited day treatment program and state licensed independent school in the state. I could be wrong, but to my knowledge, I believe that we hold both those accreditations, and I think that makes us unique. Secondly, I think we have a unique culture of staff down there. It's a multidisciplinary team and involves clinicians and special educators and teachers, behavioral interventionists, all the way down through the van drivers, and no one will really say that one component of the program is more important than the other. Mm-hmm. All components are important, the clinical, the educational, the behavioral, and that's what makes it unique, because it's a really good balance and blend of all those components mm-hmm. that allow students to access their learning through whatever portal is more important for them at the time.
I also think one of the other luxuries that we have is that our facilities is actually a school building, mm-hmm. and I think that helps decrease the stigma that sometimes is attached to kids that have to receive mental health services mm-hmm. and maybe have to leave their public school, that they actually, the physical location and we're housed in a school building, and so that kind of makes it a little less intimidating mm-hmm. for folks to come and receive the services that we provide.
Yes, Christie's right. We get a lot of feedback from parents and students about the fact that it doesn't look like an office. It actually looks like a school with a gym and a playground and a big yard, lots of green space mm-hmm. around there. Another thing that we get feedback on from both parents and students is that we provide transportation. We have a standalone transportation program. Other schools similar to ours, they utilize Medicaid cabs, and a student will, for the most part, be transported by a taxi cab to their school, especially if it's a distance away. But we provide our own transportation. We have a number of vans. In fact, last year our van drivers logged in 285,000 miles.
Wow.
And that's without a traffic violation, an accident, and that's happened for quite some time now. They have an impressive safety record. And those vans are all driven by van drivers who have a Type 2 bus driver endorsement. They also receive very similar training to all the staff at SOAR, whether some trauma-focused intervention or how to deal with a student who may be acting up on the van. But and those vans travel to all over Franklin and Grand Isle County, as well as Chittenden and Lamoille County. We travel as far away as the North End in Burlington and all the way up to Hyde Park, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
And that's from your house, right from your door to school and back again.
Yeah.
Now, let's review the educational opportunities that the Soar Learning Center provides students.
Well, first of all, the educational opportunities that students at SOAR receive are exactly the same that you would get in a public school. We have half a dozen special educators, a number of teachers. As a matter of fact, many of our teachers have advanced degrees. We offer music, and we offer physical education, health. We've had photography, small engine repair. We also have a lot of hands-on learning to blend the in-classroom learning, where we have a sugar house, a greenhouse, a ropes course, and we try to integrate we like to take what's learned in the classroom and then bring it to life out in the community or in a hands-on setting. And because of where we are and what we have access to, it makes it easier to do that. And a lot of the students that come to our school, they appreciate that and actually seem to gravitate to that more by learning by doing, I guess you would call that. So there's a lot of that. I think another thing that makes it unique is that each classroom is comprised of a multidisciplinary team. So each kid in that classroom will have a special educator, a classroom teacher, a behavioral interventionist, a homeschool coordinator, and a clinician, all assigned to them. So all that group of people will be working for this group of students in that classroom, and that's a lot of focus on one student. And so whatever that student may need to access their learning, one of those folks will be able to provide it. And they meet on a regular basis to review each student in that classroom, so they constantly update and sort of revise the plan for that person if they need to.
We also have a vocational coordinator at our school, so we try to supplement the academics with some vocational learning that happens throughout the school year, but also in our extended school year program that we provide for the K-12 students, and where that's anything from the creation of a resume, practice interviews, attending job fairs, to actually going out into the job market and interviewing for some jobs within the community. So we have really strong community partnerships, which lends itself to that model, and being able to help put some of these students in the community to find some job experience.
And 1 week usually toward the end of spring, sometime around May, we have in the high school, we have an interdisciplinary unit where it may focus on the maple sugar industry in Vermont. We try to focus on an agricultural product in Vermont and learn about it. And that might involve the literature surrounding that, the science, the mathematics involved in it, as well as the history around it. Or perhaps like through social studies, it'd be around the legislation that might affect certain agricultural products in Vermont. So what would happen is the teachers would come together, plan that, and then the students would take that learning and bring it out to maybe growing something in the greenhouse or producing maple sugar. And oftentimes they'll take that, for example, the maple sugar that the students produce we will have a staff student breakfast and invite guests, and we'll have a breakfast that involves maple sugar and pancakes and all the regular breakfast items. But it's really fun because it culminates in that breakfast. And every student leaves SOAR when they graduate or when they'll have a resume prepared based on perhaps jobs they had there, jobs they were able to have in the summer through SOAR, because we have an extended school year program, 4 weeks in July, and part of that involves a vocational placement where a student will access a job in the community, learn on the job, gain some skills, and we have job coaches available to them, and they can put that on their resume when they graduate.
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah, it's very comprehensive.
Now, let's look at the therapeutic or clinical services also that are provided as part of the SOAR Learning Center.
So at SOAR, we have 4 master's levels clinicians to provide services for the students. 2 of those clinicians also have their apprentice substance abuse certification so that they can do some substance abuse assessment and some work with teens or middle school students who might be, struggling or have questions or just need some education around those type of things. The clinicians provide both group and individual counseling weekly. So the group is a personal development, psychoeducation, skill development group, which provides a lot of opportunities for teamwork and kind of group cohesion for kids to learn how to work together. The individual sessions can be once a week, they can be multiple times a week. The clinicians on site are also available for kind of pre-crisis screenings if there's something that's a child who's struggling. We also have the availability to do some family work with the families that are interested. There have been parents, foster parents, that have come in and joined individual sessions with the approval of the student, and we've made that work. We also, we have been working on really incorporating the mind-body concept and teaching kids about self-regulation through physical activity and finding outlets for their emotional kind of regulation capacity. We have created what we call a sensory regulation room at SOAR. So that has all sorts of different activities and just different opportunities for kids to explore different ways to regulate their behaviors and emotions. So it might be, anything from music or art, painting, to physical activity, throwing a ball or jump roping, but just being very aware of the connection between your emotions and your physiological states. We also have been able to incorporate a lot of creative aspects into the work we do clinically. We have a low ropes course, which lends itself very easily to those kind of group dynamic trust issues, teamwork, accomplishing a goal together where everybody gets to play a part, which is really fun to see the kids coming together as a group. And so several of our clinicians have training in using that in a therapeutic way. We also, one of our clinicians is a Zumba instructor, and so she has provided that as a unit in her personal development class of getting kids busy and moving and how that can increase, energy and mood. We also have some, our music teacher does a lot with music intervention and exploring different ways that kids can use music to express their emotions or to regulate themselves. So we have a pretty dynamic group and approach. We also provide assessment for diagnostic reasons and for substance abuse assessment if that happens. So we have quite a spectrum of services, and I think those are the more formalized therapeutic approaches at our school, but the reality is that there are as many more informal approaches with the team dynamics that Michael described. I think that we're very lucky that we've had opportunities to provide training for our entire staff on understanding trauma and the way that it appears in different developmental stages, everyone from the person sitting at the front desk to driving the van to a homeschool coordinator. And so it's a collective approach. So I think there's a lot of treatment and going on and clinical support going on outside of maybe the clinical team, which is, I think, really helps move treatment progress along. We also have homeschool coordinators, which play an integral part in connecting students and families with other mental health services and supports. because we're part of a larger designated agency, mental health agency through NCSS, our homeschool coordinators are able to provide referrals for additional supports that maybe families and students require outside of the school day, you know. So I think we have a really cohesive group, and we're very lucky to be connected to the NCSS providers. We also provide on-site psychiatry and have access to the NCSS child psychiatrist through email, phone calls, whenever we need, if there's an immediate need. I also, something that we really appreciate too is we have on-site formal crisis screenings as well. The NCSS crisis team will actually come to SOAR when there's a student in crisis and do the screening right on site, which is a huge deal. You know, it's very difficult oftentimes when a student's in crisis to move physical location. So it's very nice to have that extension of NCSS services to come down and support us. So we have a really good working relationship with the other children's division and other aspects of NCSS.
And I think Christie will echo this, is that it's very important for us to have a trauma-informed school.
Yes, absolutely.
And for staff, and all staff, not just the clinicians, but all staff, to have a basic working knowledge of trauma and how to identify it, and in your role, approach it and address it. And that would be from van drivers to teachers to BIs as well as clinicians.
Yep.
And just be aware of how what you do may affect a child in your classroom.
Right. Yeah, the areas that we particularly focus on are attachment and the development of attachment through early childhood and how important that is, and what kind of symptoms and signs to look for if that process has not maybe been optimal for students. But really we focus on the self-regulation aspect of kind of calming your body and understanding, identifying, expressing, and understanding your emotional being, you know, for these students. And a large part of it is about, like Michael said, it's about caregiver affect management is the verbiage that we use. Is sometimes it's as important how we respond to students' behaviors or what meets us at the door can really make or break an intervention or a relationship with a student. So I feel very lucky to have that.
This is a final note on the sort of clinical component of the program. One thing we would like to grow and develop in the near future is a way to treat the ongoing substance abuse problem that we find growing in a number of teens throughout Franklin as well as Grand Isle counties. Doing an informal survey of some of the kids, past students there, students that are there now. It's a growing problem, and it makes it increasingly difficult for kids to want to learn while they're addicted to these drugs. So we want to expand our capability to provide for those students as well.
Makes sense. Now, going and looking at behavioral services that the Soar Learning Center provides, if you could just explain the wide array of services that you do provide in that arena, which I know is another part of the important components that you do provide on a daily basis.
Well, Christie, you can jump in anytime, but because clinical and behavioral, they work closely together. I think the foundation of our behavioral intervention is applied behavior analysis. It's really a system of sort of, trying to assess the function of a student's behavior. And then once you assess that function, trying to develop a system of reinforcements to get them to change that behavior. Because some of these students come in and what they're doing has worked for them in certain other environments, but it's not particularly effective in a classroom situation or in other areas within the school. And so what we try to do is to give them feedback and sort of reward them for engaging in behaviors that will get them what they may need, but in a more acceptable fashion within that environment. So it's applied behavior analysis, and it's embedded within PBIS, which we call a positive behavioral intervention and supports, where we have a school-wide behavior plan, and then for students who need more than that, the second tier of that would be more of an individualized intensive program. And then from time to time we get students that have very intensive needs. They might be highly aggressive, they might have more multiple and complex problems. That would be at the top tier. That's about 5% of our program. And what we would do is we might do all of the other things I mentioned, as well as bring in a consultant or other outside providers to assist us in ensuring that student gets what they need so they can remain in the classroom and learn. So some of the things we would do is we have a school store. So students can access that through a token economy. When students engage in particular behaviors that we are targeting for them to show more of, they earn tickets, and they can use those tickets to go to our school store and purchase items. They can also special order items. In addition, those students may have what we call group contingencies, which is in the classroom. Students get together and they decide on a reward they would like, and they all have to meet a certain standard. And if they do, their classroom would get a reward. And so what that does is that it allows them to be, have more choice in what they want. It teaches them to work together as a team for a common goal. And also there's some peer pressure there for the others. Like there might be 5 students are doing really well and one student's holding them back. There's a little bit of peer pressure that student sort of needs to meet the standard that the other students set for them. And then they may earn something like a pizza party or a class trip or something like that. But they're working together for a common goal. And for some of those students, that's the first time they've done that, worked as a team. So I think that's important as well.
I think we extend the token economy to the van, to transportation, so that kids can get rewards, because it oftentimes can be difficult if you have 5 or 6 kids in a van traveling as far as Richford. That's an hour plus, and there may be some behaviors that occur. So I think there's incentive for them to have positive van rides and earn incentives so that they can go to the school store. We also recognize like Student of the Week and Student of the Month in a very kind of public way, so that we celebrate successes in a group, so everyone gets to see, everyone gets to acknowledge the great work and effort that's been put in. We also have a incentive privileged, a school-wide privilege system in which you earn each level, you earn more independence, more trust, and more privileges, that the student can choose. They can personalize those privileges off a group contingency list or individual list. So I think we do as much as we can. I think, the basic is we want to try to catch kids being good, and really focus on catching those good moments and celebrating them in a very public way, so hopefully it's almost contagious,
And what we found to be helpful is when Christie talks about that sort of thing, is what we learn about with our trauma training is the routines and rituals, where it's very important that students learn that they have a routine they can follow, it's predictable, they know what to expect. But we also have rituals like our Christmas, our holiday concert, and our Soar Showcase, which would highlight talents of students. We feel very strongly that student achievements or student talents or skills should be celebrated and recognized, and they know that this will be the opportunity that they'll get to do that. And as well as, I think every kid should hear some applause at least one time in their life.
Absolutely.
And that is an opportunity for them to do that. And it's amazing when we see that there might be a child who is very shy, would never get on stage. Oftentimes staff will go on stage and perform with them to help them. But it's amazing when you see them do that for the very first time, and they're scared. But the important thing is that they overcome that fear and they're able to follow through with it. So we feel very strongly about that.
Now, I know I mentioned it in the opening comments, but the Soar Learning Center has recently received your second 3-year accreditation from CARF. And once again, in each case, you received a perfect score, which is just unprecedented. So during the exit interview, the surveyors made some comments and actually had some glowing remarks to say about the Soar Learning Center. So let's listen to some of what they had to say.
The Soar Learning Center is a day treatment program and licensed independent school that provides concurrent day treatment and educational services to children and adolescents in grades K through 12. This program is innovative, provides students with academic, behavioral challenges, and behavioral health issues with ways to accomplish their dreams and hopes in life. The program believes and teaches the youth that they serve, that giving back to the others is a vital part of the service to their community. SOARs will conduct community cleanups, do fundraising for local cancer hospitals, provide maple syrup and food they have produced to local food banks. This program is outstanding, exemplary, and strength-based that should be recognized for the many children and adolescents' lives they have changed.
These comments also speak highly to the work that your staff provides each day. Let's talk about what makes the Soar Learning staff so special.
Well, first of all, I think that the staff are very passionate about the work that they do. I think that we see a lot of staff activities and work with kids that go above and beyond your 40-hour-a-week job. They work very hard to ensure that students feel safe where they are, that they have access to learning, and that they can participate in activities that they've never participated in before. And that's the only way I can describe it, and Christie, jump in here, but it's like a passion for what they do. For example, I rarely have to ask staff to do something or engage in something. Staff all the time are coming up with great ideas on how to help the students that go to SOAR, as well as their families. For example, we have a tradition now, it's become a tradition. We have a staff at our school that has managed to get donations of Christmas gifts for our holiday gifts, Christmas gifts for every student that attends Soar Learning Center. No student walks out of there for their holiday break without multiple gifts that they can also share with their family. and this is all donated, and this is because of one staff member inspiring other staff members to help her get these gifts. For example, we had another, our physical education teacher, for example, we have a student, he's from Chittenden County, a very tough guy, and wasn't always inspired to do a number of things, especially extracurricular activities, working with his physical education teacher, who brought him to his physical education teacher got him into track and field at his school, drove him there, coached him, gave him pep talks when he needed to, and he set the school javelin record and went to the state track and field finals. And just the year before, this person was not active in any extracurricular activities, let alone any sporting activities. So it's staff like that who are willing to give more of themselves. And I don't know what, I think one of the things is we're lucky to have staff like that. And also, I think that you have to hire for attitude. You know, because I think we have a lot of people in the culture at SOAR that display really great attitude and character, and it goes beyond their skill set. It's all about attitude, and it's one of the things we try to do is hire people that display good attitude.
Some of our greatest programmatic initiatives have come from a single staff member who sees a need and wants to fill it, and I don't think you can ask for much more than that as an administrative team. You know, we're not ever searching for someone to fill a void. Those voids get filled by just someone noticing it, you know, and this really is a passion for the staff down at SOAR. It's not just a job, you know. This is, people come to work every day with a passion and wanting to help and better the lives of the children and families that we work with. And I also think the level of teamwork that occurs at SOAR is, I've not seen it anywhere else that I've been employed, and it really is like a well-functioning machine. One part helps the next, and it just works very nicely.
And I've been on NCSS for 26 years, and I can say without a doubt, this is the best group of people I've ever worked with in my life. And I'm very proud of them. And you know, when we shared with them, we got another perfect score, and the CARF surveyor said that we have a very unique model and it should be shared across the country, and it was a model that should be replicated. They were like, really? Because those guys, they're there, they just do their job. They do their job, and they also see the blemishes that any program may have. So when they get that feedback, it's like, wow, it's hard to believe. But it's nice to hear, because we don't see hundreds of day treatment programs across the country. These CARF surveyors do, and the feedback they gave to us is that we were one of the best they've ever seen. And it's hard for us to believe, because we just do our job every day. So we were like, oh my gosh, really? But it was nice to hear, because it validates that passion and hard work that staff put into helping kids.
Absolutely.
Well, and you know, Michael, you mentioned that, and what we're going to end on today, because we are running short on time, is we're going to listen to what the CARF surveyor had to say when they said that this program should actually be rolled out beyond its current location.
It is suggested that the SOARS program think of ways to promote their program throughout their community and state. The SOARS program does such an excellent service that could be expanded across the state and nation and country.
Okay, so I can't believe our time is up already, but I certainly want to thank my guests, Michael Bombard and Christie Moffett, for being on the show today and sharing their insights on what separates the Soar Learning Center from other independent educational and day treatment programs. As the CARF International Surveyor stated, this is such an incredible program that it should be expanded throughout Vermont, the region, and the nation. I also want to thank you, the viewer, for spending time with us again this month. You can learn more about NCSS and all of our programs and services by logging on to ncssinc.org. I'm Joe Halko, and I'll be back next month with another episode of NCSS Here for You. This has been another episode of NCSS Here for You. We hope that you found today's discussion informative and educational. For over 50 years, Northwestern Counseling and Support Services has been providing access to quality psychosocial services to the residents of Franklin and Grand Isle counties. Over the years, as the needs of the community have changed, so too have the programs and services that we make available to assist children, adolescents, adults, families, and seniors. Thanks once again for tuning in this month. NCSS's purpose remains creating a stronger community, one person at a time.